Lance Armstrong was born on September 18, 1971, in a suburb of Dallas, Texas, called Plano. Now, Lance began running and swimming competitively when he was only 10 years old. By the time he was 13, he was competing in triathlons and won the Iron Kids Triathlon. Lance's mother, who raised Lance mostly by herself, recognized and encouraged his competitive spirit. During his senior year in high school, Lance was invited to train with the U.S. Olympic cycling developmental team in Colorado. From that time on, Lance focused completely on cycling. By 1991, Lance was the U.S. national amateur champion. He also won 2 major national races the same year, even beating some professional cyclists. Now, although he was generally doing very well, Lance had his ups and downs. In 1992, he was expected to do very well at the Barcelona Olympics, but he finished in 14th place. This was a big disappointment. Lance got over the disappointment and decided to turn professional. In his first professional race, the 1992 Classico San Sebastian, he ended up finishing dead last, 27 minutes behind the winner. Now, Lance's mother continued to encourage Lance through his difficult times. Things went much better for Lance in the following years. In 1993, he was the youngest person to win the World Race Championships. In the same year, he entered the Tour de France for the first time. He won one stage of the race, but dropped out of the race before finishing. In 1995, he even won the Classico San Sebastian, the race that he had finished last in 1992. Lance also won the most important U.S. tournament, the Tour DuPont, 2 times, in both 1995 and 1996. By 1996, Lance was ranked 7th among cyclists in the world, and he signed a 2-year contract with the French racing team. At that time, he was still a few months away from his 25th birthday. Everything was looking very good for Lance Armstrong. However, everything changed dramatically and drastically in October of 1996, shortly after his 25th birthday. At this time, Lance was diagnosed with advanced cancer that had already spread to his brain and lungs. He almost immediately underwent 2 cancer surgeries. After these 2 surgeries, he was given less than a 50-50 chance of survival as he began an aggressive 3-month course of chemotherapy. The chemotherapy left Lance very weak, but the treatment worked well. Quite soon after, Lance was declared free of cancer. Lance returned to cycling and training only 5 months after he was initially diagnosed with cancer. He vowed he would return to competitive cycling better than ever. However, his French cycling team dropped Lance from the team. They didn't believe that Lance would ever be able to return to his former level of strength and endurance. Fortunately, the U.S. Postal Service team became his new sponsor. With the support of the U.S. Postal Service team, Lance returned to racing in 1998. After one particularly bad day during one of his races, Lance pulled over and decided he was done with racing. However, after spending time with his really good cycling friends, Lance returned to racing, and again, he was off again in pursuit of cycling victories. Lance's big comeback was marked by his victory at the 1999 Tour de France. Lance repeated this feat in the years 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, and 2004, for a total of 6 consecutive victories in the Tour de France, the most prestigious and the most grueling of all cycling contests. Lance's Tour de France record may never be beaten or even matched. Interestingly, Lance was the youngest person to win the World Cycling Championships in 1993, and the oldest person ever to win the Tour de France in 2004. In addition to his amazing athletic performance, Lance Armstrong has established the Lance Armstrong Foundation, which is devoted to providing information about cancer and support to cancer victims. He's also written a book about his life and winning the Tour de France called Every Second Counts. And for Lance, every second has counted. Lance Armstrong gives a lot of credit for his success to his mother, whose independent spirit and support for Lance inspired him to overcome all of life's obstacles, both on and off the racetrack. Lance, in turn, has provided inspiration to many for his courage, both athletic and personal.